Huh. This has been a tough 2 years for developers. Firings has been going on a lot in the gaming industry. In the past 2 years, we have lost so many developers in so many industries. And it's getting to the point where it's not even safe for developers to make games anymore. For example, Hi Fi Rush. That game was Game of the Year, only made by two developers, and they got rid of the whole studio. Just recently, Bungie made the expansion of The Final Shape, which is the finale of Destiny 2. Apparently, it was the best received expansion since the game's launch. And 220 developers got fired, even though it was the best expansion in years. It just seems like it's doom and gloom for developers in the gaming industry nowadays. And there are some serious warning signs that the gaming industry is going in the hole. I mean, it's something it's hard to get out of. I mean, there's critically acclaimed games, but developers are still getting fired even when they give it their absolute all. It is beyond words of what's been happening the past 2 years. I mean, the pandemic hit, and gaming was at an all-time high. CEOs and executives thought that would last, but then it tumbled. Things got back to normal, and ever since then, they had these high expectations that's beyond reach, and just a lot of developers are getting fired. The oversaturation when it came to either developer numbers being too high or budgets of games being just way too high, and expecting that this climb and surgence of gaming with the pandemic, when it ultimately got back to normal, it is starting to collapse on itself. Developers and gamers are being to the wayside. These developers and gamers are feeling really bad about this. Developers don't want to work in the gaming industry because they could get fired, but then there's the gamers that just wants to enjoy these games and get developers to keep their jobs. There's so much money that they can give them from buying games, microtransactions, and stuff like that. But it just feels like with these firings that it just seems like no matter what we do, it's just never enough. And we're getting to a point where it could have a game crash. It could happen. I mean, no doubt about it. This is becoming unsustainable for the gaming industry. And since games are prioritizing high fidelity graphics instead of just focusing in the art, when you really combine this all together, it just makes a hole in the gaming industry that's just very, very hard to get out of. And thing is, I don't even know how we're going to get out of this hole for developers and the gaming industry. Obviously, they need to go back to their roots, but I'm even kind of wondering if that's sustainable. I have so many questions of the future of gaming, and we just have to see what happens because the future is uncertain.